Welcome back. Today I'm here with our two librarians, Miss Coley and Miss Collins. How are y'all doing today?
We're doing good.
We're doing great.
Sounds good. So I was wondering, so how long have y'all been a librarian?
I've been a librarian for 17 years.
And I've been a librarian for 8 years. I spent 2 years in the classroom before I went to the library. I did elementary education and I did second grade reading intervention.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So how do you like become a librarian?
You have to be a librarian in the school system, you have to, at least in Alabama, you have to get a master's degree from one of the accredited universities. So Alabama, West Alabama, I think those are the only two in the state.
I think there's maybe South Alabama or University of Mobile. There's one in the South, I think,
Okay.
that also has it. But yeah, it's basically a 2 years master's program. And you have to do it after you have so many years experience. Or Ms. Collins has a unique situation. She actually was an architect before, interior designer. And so, yeah, so she didn't teach in the classroom and doesn't have a teaching undergrad, but the University of Alabama offers a degree. You tell them about it.
So they have a track. So at the University of Alabama, you can be really any kind of librarian. You want to be a medical librarian, you want to be a public librarian, art librarian, any of those, and they have different class tracks that you can take to specialize in. So you take kind of like when you do with an undergrad in college, you take general classes and then you specialize. So that's basically how the University of Alabama's library program is set up. So you have to take, actually, the library program for schools is the longest. You have to take more hours than anybody else to get qualified to be a school librarian. So
I didn't even know there was a difference
Yeah.
in like librarians.
Yeah.
So,
And like at West Alabama, that's the track that I did. And you have to have an undergraduate in some field of education. And you also have to have 3 years experience in your field. So I cheated a little bit. I only have 2 years in my field of expertise. And then I came here like on emergency certification and did my 3rd year as my first year in the library.
yeah, but here you are.
Here I am. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good place to be.
So like, what's the difference between those types of librarians?
well, like say if you were a medical librarian, you would be working maybe down at UAB in the medical school, and you have to have very specialized knowledge to help the medical students find what they need in the library. It's in school library, like one of the classes that's special to school librarianship is instructional design, where you learn how to partner with the teachers to develop programs to collaborate with the teachers in the building. So that's an example.
I would say that that's the biggest difference. I think public libraries also have to focus on offering a variety of formats to knowledge, right? Like they need to have a chance for people to check out devices that will put them on the internet. They need to have audio books and ebooks. They also have like from children's picture books with no words all the way through like adult books on many, many different topics where in a school library, you have to focus on your collection development based on your community, basically. So, like, who are going to be my people that I'm serving, right? So, Ms. Collins and I really focus just on high school aged
Like
students, right? Because that's who's here, and we focus on purchasing books, audiobooks, and ebooks for you guys. And I would say that the biggest difference is the collection that you're developing and also the instructional piece. I don't think a lot of people realize that Ms. Collins and I have our jobs to help teachers enhance lessons. Like if a teacher has a lesson that they think is boring, or maybe the kids are not getting it, or maybe they need to do like a remedial lesson, they could reach out to us and then we could help like pull materials. We can help them actually teach the class. And I don't think people realize that we do both ends of that job. And then we have the technology piece as well, where like I distribute Chromebooks and help kids with basic troubleshooting stuff like that. Yeah.
So do many like teachers take you up on that offer?
Not a lot. I wish there were more that would take us up on the collaboration offer. Most of the time when we have teachers come in, it's because they need something. Like I need a cord, I need a book, I need something. I need a projector. And
Or
then,
projectors.
yeah, right. Yeah. Like if their projector in the ceiling goes out, then we put one on a rolly cart and send it to them. Yeah. For like a stand in or whatever. So yeah, I would say that I wish that teachers would utilize us as collaborators more. And hopefully in the future, I'm going to do a better job of marketing that to teachers because I just think they don't know. They don't know that I could help. So.
I remember when I was like, well, when I was in there talking to y'all before, like a bunch of teachers and a bunch of students always come in there, like, check out books and just talk to y'all in general. How many library books get checked out in like one day normally?
One day, that's tough.
Maybe like a week. Like,
But in the last year, I think we checked out somewhere around
7,000?
7,000 books. I mean, and a lot of times it's not 7,000 different titles, right? Like if a girl comes in the library right now, they're going to ask for The Summer I Turned Pretty, or one of the books in that series, most likely. So not 7,000 different titles, but absolutely 7,000 around that many books.
Yeah, that's one thing we do is when we've got a hot title, we try to make sure we have multiple copies.
Right.
Really the most popular books.
so wait, how many copies would y'all have? Like something like Harry Potter or something really popular?
Harry Potter actually is not as popular as it used to be, but
I think kids read it in elementary now,
Yeah.
right? Like my daughter's in second grade and she's talking about kids in her class who have finished Harry Potter. I'm sure their parents are reading it to them, but still, there's second graders reading. I think it just happens earlier now.
Yeah, or like, for example, the book Scythe is hugely popular in high school, and we probably have 8 copies of the first book in the Scythe series. Yeah.
And then an ebook. We have a few copies of the ebook and a few copies of the audiobook on Sora. So a lot.
How many of the books get I'm not like stolen or taken, but like people forget to check them back out?
Forget.
How many
sore
a year
subject.
do you think?
I struck
At least
a bad note.
100.
At least 100.
And if you say $20 a book, that's $2,000 worth of books that we don't get back.
We do a lot of replacing. Like at the end of the year, Miss Collins makes me do inventory because I do not like it. And that's where she's able to see and we both could see the report, but she's really good at it. So she can see the report and see what books didn't get returned. And she basically looks at it through our Destiny catalog and she can see, well, did only one kid check that out in the last 10 years? Or is it a super popular book? Should we replace it? Should we count our losses? So she's able to see that. And that's how we decide on what we're going to purchase the next year too.
Gotcha. So what's the most likely genre to get taken or checking out?
I would say across the board, I would say mystery, romance,
Really?
sports.
What about dystopic? Like
That would
sci-fi
be-
dystopian?
Yeah, that would be in the group too. But I think mystery is definitely number one.
Mystery is number one. People like to read about scary stuff and true crime.
Yeah.
Would dystopian be in mystery?
I mean, it could be, but usually not.
Okay. And what genre is y'all's favorite?
You gonna choose first, or you gonna make me?
I'll make you.
Okay, so I have two favorites, but they're kind of the same, right? So my favorite is historical fiction because I like that it's written about real events that happened. And so my other favorite is realistic. I like to read about things that could be real. It helps me insert myself into that situation. I really like gaining those new experiences through a book. And I went to this conference called AASL, and one of the speakers said the difference in fiction and nonfiction, which I do love nonfiction, by the way. Probably my favorite book to date is A Sea Between Us, and it's a nonfiction book written by Billy Ivy. And I actually love that book. And it's nonfiction, but my point in talking about nonfiction is that nonfiction is what is, right? And fiction is what if. And so it's kind of like for historical fiction and realistic fiction that they took what was or what is and they turned it into a what if kind of situation. So I like that about it.
Still don't know.
No, it's hard. It's like when somebody says, "What's your favorite book?" I'm like, "That's like picking a favorite child. I can't do that. I love so many books." I am a book nerd. I was a book nerd as a kid, so this is kind of a natural progression for me to end up in a library. But I would say historical is also, but I also like one that she does not like. I love sci-fi dystopian. So,
You
and
don't like sci-fi? Sci-fi
It's
dystopian?
fine. I like the Hunger Games. I
Mhm.
love that. I love Harry Potter. There are series that I love in that, but I think in this season of my life, what just drags out for me with sci-fi dystopian is that they have to develop the whole world. You know, like it's a complete fictitious world that they're living in, where realistic and historical are in the world that I know. And so it takes a long time for them to build the world in sci-fi dystopian. And so I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
I feel like that's what's charming about it, though. Like
It
they
is.
have, they
It
have to
is.
create the whole world. Like
Yes.
it's whatever their imagination is.
It is. It's
And
whatever they make it.
I think what my biggest thing that I like about them is it leaves it up to your imagination. Like
That's
you
good.
can come up with, like I guess like running theories of what they would do in this case and how this
Yeah.
would happen and how other things would happen.
Which is my least favorite thing about when they turn books into movies. Because in my mind, I've already seen how they should look and how I think they're going to look and how I think they're going to behave. And then the movie comes out and I'm like, mm-mm.
Any
The worst
disappointing
one,
movies?
yes.
Oh.
The most disappointing right now for me is, help me out. The girl and they're trying to get her to go to school. It's super popular. There's a court case in the book.
not educated. Not educated.
I don't want to spoil it in case somebody wants to read it, but at the end, you're really like, yeah, way to go, because she gets him at the end, you know. Where the Crawdads Sing.
Oh.
In my mind, I had made her up as this like kind of raggedy character, super like in a very impoverished situation. And she had like 6 outfits in the movie. No way did that happen. So yeah, I was disappointed.
You kind of threw me because I thought we were still talking about sci-fi dystopian.
Oh yeah, well, and then I jumped to movies. Sorry.
And there are some. What do y'all think is like the best movie adaptation for book?
I think they've done a good job with Harry Potter's.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think Hunger Games.
Hunger
They did
Games.
Good
Hunger
job with
Games
Hunger
is good, but in the
Yes.
first one they didn't have a good budget.
Yeah, but I think Hunger Games because Harry Potter is like so detailed that it was hard to like fit everything in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Harry Potter movies are better if you read the book first. I mean, obviously, I think you should always read the book first.
Yeah.
But I think for Harry Potter especially, it's one of those things. If you read the book first, you're gonna have a 10 times better
True.
chance of watching it.
Yeah, because
Enjoying it.
there would be like paragraphs in the book where like it was just like explaining what was going on, and like without that you would get confused just watching the movie.
Yeah.
But I think that's why people like watching the movies. They don't have to think or
Yeah,
spend
it's
all that time.
mindless. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can finish the movie really fast, right?
Yeah. All right. I'm going to leave you off on one last question. If you could only read one book for the rest of your life, one book specific, one genre,
Okay, that's fair.
one genre, and I'm not going one genre you aren't familiar with.
Oh, Jett.
Yeah.
Not fair.
So not fair. So I can only read this genre for the rest of my life.
Yes.
And it can't be one of my favorites that I said from before.
Correct.
Okay, so no historical for me and no realistic. And for you, no sci-fi dystopian.
Or historical.
Yeah, so
Struggle bus.
Mystery.
mystery.
Bigger the better.
I just don't like creepy. I don't like, especially in
It.
middle school. And yeah,
Oh,
and here everybody's like, what's your scariest book? And I'm like, I don't know because I don't read them. I hate them.
Yeah.
I hate
So,
horror books.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
Not my
I just,
favorite.
no, but if it's a good, figure it out, who done it kind of thing, then yeah. Like a book that I love right now that's on our mystery shelf is Lies Like Wildfire.
What about the Inheritance Games?
That's
Is that
another-
mystery
that's
too?
mystery
And you
too.
love it?
I love that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could handle mysteries like that. I don't want to read that for the rest of my life. Too much, I don't know, too much thinking. I think that I would do nonfiction for the rest of my life because there's a huge swing in nonfiction right now where they're writing the books in story form. So it's not like opening the encyclopedia where it's like Jett Evers was born on blah, 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 blah. And it it's not like that anymore. It's very much
Storytelling.
storytelling. Like you would have a hard time telling the difference in a realistic fiction book and a nonfiction book now. If you didn't look in the front of it and see that it's nonfiction. But so I think I would choose nonfiction. And I genuinely enjoy hearing and seeing other people's unique experiences. I think it makes me a better human.
I like it. When I was like in middle school, I kind of had like this to decide in a way which one I liked better, fiction or nonfiction, just which one I liked more. But I remember I would always like try reading a few like very like historical nonfiction books, and it was just like
Dry.
Terrible.
Boring.
This person was born this day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Then he
Terrible.
did this thing.
Yeah.
Terrible.
On this day, this was invented, and it was just not fun. That's why I've always been a firm like fiction enjoyer. Like the crazier, the more fun it is.
Yeah. Well, there's some crazy nonfiction out there.
There-
That's some
yeah.
crazy stories.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I think you should read A Sea Between Us. Like, it's my favorite nonfiction, so I think you should check it out. It's told in story form. You can come out of the Oak Mountain High School library and pick it up today.
What if it's already checked out?
I'll find you a copy.
Alrighty. All right. Well, thank you. So please follow us at Oak Mountain Media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and also follow our channel also at Oak MTM. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Work.